Take this, line it up to your bucky. Okay, good. Bucky's already lengthwise. So now that I'm lined up, right? Not gonna touch tube, not gonna touch bucky anymore. All right, in this case, I do want to line myself up to the iliac crest. So I'm gonna check for your crests again. Actually, before I even do that, let's make sure our patient's straight. Pretty good. I'm just gonna wiggle you a tiny bit, try not to move. All right, perfect. Gonna check the crests. Okay, crest is right here. So this time I'm going directly to the crest, no more 2 inches. Okay, I'm gonna put my hand here and figure out MSP this time. Okay, both sides look relatively even. Alright, gonna double check myself. Okay, I'm gonna turn the leg just a tiny bit. I'm gonna look for that greater trochanter. Okay, perfect, bottom of the light. Good. So this is going to be my KUB.
So did you check the thing, put the thing out?
I did.
That's when you can see it. You can't see it like this.
That's right, I did it earlier.
So that it reduced so big. I see.
This has to match with this.
Thank you.
I'll always do that first before you ever even start positioning.
Once it's aligned, you just have to move the table.
For the
Correct.
pubic symptoms, we can do either 2 inches below the as-is or 2 inches above the
Greater.
symphysis, right?
You're talking about the pelvis? Yes, you can do either or. So that's what we're gonna do now. Now, a trick that you can do here is I'm gonna go ahead and use one of my markers to mark the height of the iliac crest right here, since I know I got that earlier, right?
Oh, that's very smart.
I'm also going to just sort of move this out of the way so that I can flip my cassette crosswise for the pelvis. Okay, do make sure that you align your cassette crosswise for the pelvis. All right. Whoops, wrong way. Okay, so this is going to be my 17. This is going to be my 14. So now we're crosswise. Okay, so I know that the top of the light is going to go a little bit above that iliac crest. So I should be in about the correct area. Now I'm going to do my finishing touches. So here's the as is, 2 inches down. Okay, so I can go a tiny bit lower. I'm going to double check this by checking the greater trochanter. Good, right there. All right, 2 inches up. Looks pretty good. All right, with the legs, I'm not going to touch the feet, but I am going to grab the ankles here and spread them apart slightly. I'm not going to touch the feet, but I'm going to grab the legs and I'm going to internally rotate the legs. Okay, 15 to 20 degrees. Okay, so it should look like both feet are doing a mortise, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're doing 2 ankle mortises. All right, once again, just make sure I am truly MSP. I think I'm slightly off, so I'm going to get myself a bit better of an MSP.
Just tripped on
Be careful.
Manita.
Okay.
Nice.
Crest inside the light, trochanter, as is. Okay, so that is going to be my AP pelvis.
Just to double check, it's 2 inches above the greater trochanter or 2 inches below pubic, or as is.
Correct. Good. From here, we're going to do the AP hip. So AP hip, I know that your text will say look for the crease and then go in the crease. When you do look for the crease, don't bend the leg so much, right? If you're going to bend the leg just a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit so that you can get that crease, and then you can relax the leg again. If you bend too much, your crease goes way up here and then things look funny. Right? Now, you can't just throw it here, because once you collimate, you may notice that oops, wrong one. Right, so when you collimate, you might notice that you're actually not quite sure where to go medial-lateral. So the trick for this one is we're going to look for the as-is again. Okay, so as-is is right here. we're gonna go about 1 to 2 inches medial from the as-is. Mansi is kind of small, so I'm only gonna go 1 inch. Okay, and then from here, I'm gonna go straight down about 3 to 4 inches. So approximately to where that crease is gonna be. So I'm pretty close. I'm just gonna come this way a little bit. Good. All right, and then once again, take this leg, slightly internally rotate, make this look like a Mortise. Right, so you may not have light all the way here. That's okay. Right? We have light just barely over the pubic symphysis. That's good, right? Because we want to see that pubic symphysis as well. Right? And then we're centered right here on the neck of that femur.
Can you tell me that centering again? It's 2 inches below as-is?
So
1
there
inch
are
medial.
3 ways to do this. Number 1 is actually find the as-is, pubic symphysis, correct? We're not actually going to touch it, but
1 to 2
pubic
inch medial.
symphysis. And then from here, you draw a T,
2.5.
right? And then when you draw a T, you go 2.5 inches this way, and that's your centering. That's too much. So for me, look for the as-is, 1 to 2 inches medial. In this case, I'm only going to go 1 inch. 3 to 4 inches distal, right? So in this case, I'm just going to go distal until I reach the crease, right? And then that's going to be my center.
Got it. Thank you.
3 to 4 inches.
Okay. So next up is going to be the frog leg. So bend this knee 90 degrees, okay? And then let this one fall out 45 degrees, so halfway to the side. Okay? We can go a little bit more. There you go. All right. Now, if you feel over here, you'll notice that the as-is has shifted. So here's the as-is, here's 1 inch medial. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing, just adjust for my as-is. Right, so still 1 inch medial, go down towards the crease, and that's gonna be my femoral neck that I'm looking for.
Medial or lateral?
So as is shifted lateral, so I moved my centering lateral.
Lateral. Oh.
If I misspoke, then I apologize. Okay, so that would be my frog leg.
This is the same centering, right? You just changed from before, so
Exactly.
you
Just like,
centered back.
because the as-is went slightly lateral, so you
Uh-huh.
went slightly lateral.
That's right, so you've calculated it the exact same way, you just need to take into account the fact that the as is moved.
Shifts. Okay.
Good, go ahead and relax. All right, so from here, now we can do our final one, which is the decubitus abdomen. Just leave our patient on their back for now. Okay, now, in this case, okay, it doesn't really matter which way you spin it. So, it's not a big deal if you spin it the other way. The only benefit to having the face of this console like facing towards the feet is that the laser is down here. So I can use the laser to check between the legs rather than shining the laser into her eyes. Okay, but not a big deal, just a very, very small optimization. Okay, so if you would turn onto your left side, please. Good. So I folded up the pillow to make it about, thicker so that she can rest her head on there without drooping down like that. Also helps because it keeps the pillow from going underneath her shoulder and throwing that off. All right, slide this behind her back. I notice that her back's a little bit crooked, so I'm just gonna slide you a little bit, try not to move. I'm sorry. All right, you okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just trying to line up the board with my tube so that it's nice and perpendicular. I'm gonna slide your hips back.
Does this shoulder have to touch?
So yes. Good. So that feels good now. Board feels flat.
Is it 40 degrees? 40 inches?
Right.
Feel very
Elbows up. Good. Right. So yes, now we can worry about our SID. Right. We did make sure our patient is in the center of the table. That way when we bring the tube in, we don't crash into the table. All right. So just bring this across, make sure that I am on free cassette. We're looking at 45, okay, so 40. All right. See, even with her here, look at how close my tube is getting. So just be careful. All right. So first things first, I'm going to get my centering. Once again, D cube is going to be 2 inches above the crest. All right. Okay, I feel crest right here, so underneath this finger is bone, above this finger is flesh. So I know this is the level of my crest. 2 inches, so I'm going to be right here. Grab my green, recenter, grab my cassette, follow it as well. Okay. From here, collimate so that I don't go outside the borders of my cassette. I drop this down, make sure that I am MSP. Okay, another way I can check MSP is when I collimate this way. Right? You can see that there's light on the table, light above our patient. When our light gets really close, right? We still have light down here, we still have light up there, but then they go away at the same time, they show up at the same time. So I know I am perfectly MSP. Make sense? Okay, and that is my abdomen DQ.
Doesn't say the collimation, huh? Or does 14 by 17?
Don't worry about the collimation, it's just
Because it's-
whatever fits on the cassette.
I think it's 17 or 14.
That's everything?
That's everything.